Hello, everyone. My name is Dan the Tutor. Joined with me today is Lexi Showers. Lexi was a fellow Springford alumni from the class of 2015. We had pretty much zero classes together, and the only reason, I shouldn't say the only reason, but definitely the biggest reason why I'm reaching out to her today is because I saw a Facebook post she made a couple days ago where she got a new job, and she's really excited about it. And to me, a success story in life is not someone who makes $1 million. It's someone who finds a job they enjoy doing. And so, welcome, Lexi.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
So, I guess first of all, why don't you talk a little bit more about your job, what you do, what your title is, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an accounts payable clerk at the Phoenixville Borough, which basically just means that I pay everyone's bills from the borough. So if you're, paying your water bill or your sewage bill and you live in the Phoenixville Borough, that all comes through me. I get your check, I send it to our bank, and then they process it and we get paid. I also run bills for the fire department, the water and sewer and sanitation departments, all the departments of the borough. I oversee their bills. So I make sure that the department heads get the invoices for the bills and they know what's being bought. And then it goes and gets approved by them, the amounts. And then I write the checks every Friday and I send them out.
Awesome. So tell me, what's your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing about my job, wow. Well, because of COVID, we're in a week and out a week. So I get to work from every 2 weeks out of the month. So that's great. I also just really love the people that I work with. I just started a week ago, but I do feel like I really connect. There's, people that are older than me. There's people that are around the same age. I am the youngest one, but a good environment. It's a welcoming environment. Has made it a little bit easier because there's less people in the office at one time. So that definitely took some of the stress off of it.
Yeah.
They're just good people and they want to help other people in the borough, and it's just nice.
Yeah, honestly, I completely feel that. My favorite thing about my job is not even like the quote unquote cool engineering stuff we get to work on. It's literally just the people who are part of the company and how approachable and nice they are. And
Exactly.
no one, or at least I guess people talk about it, like good work environment, but it's definitely not like the main motivation for why most people get jobs. Most people just look at like things like money. Like I feel like people would, even if it's like a salary difference of $1,000, people would put themselves in such worse life positions and worse work-life balances, just for like such a small amount of money. And I think that just people need to open up their eyes and really weigh the factors involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, how did you come across that position? How did you get your job?
So I was working at Vans at the Philadelphia Premium Outlets, and I'd been working there for a little over a year and a half. And I just I kind of felt stuck there. And
in what way?
I was just making good money and I didn't want to leave. Just what we said, I didn't want to cut for an office job because I was like, well, I'm not going to have as much fun and I'm going to be taking a pay cut. So I might as well just stick with this job.
Yeah.
So I just knew that wasn't going to grow into a bigger opportunity for me. I didn't want to be a store manager. I was an assistant store manager. And I was like, this is not what I want to do with my life. So with obviously everything going on in the world right now, I was like, it's not the worst time to not have a job. So I quit my job.
Wow, that takes courage. Kudos to you.
It was so sad. I really didn't want to. It was a bad work environment. Just emotionally, there was a lot of drama, a lot of things going on the back end that were very stressful. And I didn't have a work-life balance. I worked nights, I worked weekends and holidays.
How many hours a week were you working at that?
I was working upwards, on a regular week, 40.
Okay.
And then weeks, 45 to 55 usually. So
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was definitely, retail is, you're on the clock all the time because people will call you even when you're not there. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that responsibility.
Right.
I just didn't want to have to cover shifts constantly because people were calling out and things like that. It just wasn't a stable 9-to-5 job or normal hours.
Yeah.
So my job, I left, and then I spent 6 months, I think. Yeah, about 6 months applying for jobs. That was my full-time job, was just looking on Indeed, looking on Monster, every single day, like applying and applying and applying, writing cover letter, like
Oh
time.
God.
And yeah, so bad. But I have to say, I like tested my little theory that I had that like if I apply with a cover letter, they'll respond quicker than if I don't. And they definitely do.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
write a cover letter is good advice.
That's great
But
advice because I've only done cover letters. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
assumed I never actually made the I don't know, I guess experiment you could say, like hypothesis.
yeah. I definitely, because when you apply for like a retail job, you don't need a cover letter.
Yeah.
So I was looking for retail jobs. I wouldn't have a cover letter. And I applied to a few businesses in the Roarsford area, like probably last May, around the time that everyone was out of work, and not really any responses. And then I applied to those same jobs, 6 months later with a cover letter, and I was getting responses. And I was like, okay, like this is what you have to do, I guess.
Yeah.
So I spent 6 months, like I said, applying to jobs and interviewing. I had like 2 to 3 interviews for some places, and then found out that I might have to drive an hour, and it's
Wow.
in work. Like, so they're at the business,
Would
and
they
it was
pay for the travel expenses at all?
no. So that was another big thing for me. I was like, I want to work somewhere close to home.
Hmm.
Like I live in Pottsgrove, so Phoenixville is only a 25-minute drive away from me.
Hmm.
So when I saw that job, like I took a month off, or like probably like 3 weeks off from applying from jobs right around Christmas and New Year's, because I
Hmm.
was trying to spend some time with my family. I knew I was going to be trying to build a career. So I was like, now's the time to just spend time with my siblings, spend time with my dad and my mom.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
yeah, definitely took some time off because I was also feeling a little dejected. Like I wasn't getting a job that I really wanted,
Right.
a lot of like good pay opportunities. And I just felt like down. I was like, this is awful. So I really just, took 3 weeks to myself. And then I was scrolling through my email one day, and I had some stuff from Monster, and it was just like jobs that are recommended for you. And I saw the Phoenixville Borough pop up, and I just had like this good feeling about it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to apply to that job. So I sat down that night, I wrote my cover letter, shot the email through. And the next day they called me and I had an interview, and
Wow.
I was,
Next day.
yeah, next day. It was crazy. They said they had already chosen someone, but they wanted to interview me anyway.
Mm.
And then I ended up getting the job. So I was like, oh, this was meant to be.
So does that mean did you both get a job, or did you win it out over that other person?
I wanted out.
Oh wow, nice.
Felt kind of bad afterwards. I was also like, yes. Like,
Oh, I know what you
so,
mean. I know what you mean.
yeah.
It's. I think at the end of the day, you do have to like, at least in a little bit of a selfish way, you do have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like stepping on anyone else's toes or slitting throats, which it doesn't sound like you were out to
No.
get this person.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do in the tutoring business. Very cutthroat. There's a lot of people above me, and you just got to keep chopping them down until you're the only one left. So that's always my motto. Joking, of course. So
Yeah.
2 questions I have, follow-up questions. Number 1 is, how many hours a day do you spend applying and looking for jobs?
Just looking, I would say I look all day. Like I
Okay.
constantly refreshing, and
Like that was your 40-hour week, essentially?
exactly. Yes, that was like my 40 hours I was putting in, and I didn't feel good. Like I actually have a list somewhere around here, and it was like I applied for 3 jobs a day at least.
That's good.
5. And even if it was just sending out a resume to somewhere that I wasn't sure if I even wanted to work, or a position I didn't know if I was even qualified for, I was like, I'm just going to get these out there, get my name out there. Maybe, this might not be the position, but they might have something else
Yep.
that they might think that I'm qualified for. So I was literally just like spreading my application out everywhere.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I had a few interviews. I would say applying, I probably spent, 3 applications a day. So maybe like 2 to 3 hours, I guess. If I was writing cover letters a little longer, but I was picking and choosing with those.
Yeah.
But yeah, about 2 to 3 hours a day and looking all day.
You know what's funny? Like that reminds me of is like a classic analogy I hear is that in your case, for instance, it sounds like you must have had like like 50 rejections or 50 people who just never even replied to you. And it really just took like the one like that really like, hit it off that like you ended up getting the job. Like it really just takes like one win. Like you can have like 99 losses, for instance, if you just have the one win. And like even the analogy I've heard before is like Hall of Fame baseball players have like a batting average of like 350. In other words, like only a third of the time they even make it to base. Like, and that's like a Hall of Fame baseball player. And so I feel like we just like humans and like society in general just has like this warped sense of like failure and like being afraid to fail. And it's like even the best, like they need to fail if you want to like succeed and find what you're looking for at the end of the day.
Exactly. Like I was so just sad because I was like, how are these people not even answering me back? And I actually talked to like my dad, he's a hiring manager in his company, and like some other people that have been looking for jobs like recently in the past year, and they were like, that happens to everyone. Like, don't feel bad. These people are getting hundreds and hundreds of applications. Like, it's not because you're not good enough. It's just they might not see your application. It might be at the bottom of the stack and they find someone before they get to you.
Yeah.
And like, I felt kind of bad about it, but I also was like, you know what? It just wasn't the job for me. It wasn't the right one. So that was kind of the mindset I had to have going into it so I wouldn't feel so bad.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then the second question I had, and I hope this isn't too personal, is just in terms of like your financial situation, in terms of like in between jobs, were you worried that like you wouldn't be able to, either pay rent, or I'm not sure if you're living with your parents or not? Which, by the way, I don't know if you are or not, but I'm a huge proponent of like moving in with your parents after high school or college, just to like, because rent is expensive.
I absolutely agree. I am living with my mom, and I think that everyone should live with their parent as long as they can. Like, my mom will let me live here forever. Of course I don't want to, but I'm like, until I feel ready to move out, what's the point? Like, I don't want to have to spend more money than I need to.
Right.
Fortunately, last year when we were out of work, Vans continued to pay us 40 hours a week for the full-time and the part-time people. They got paid an average of what like they made in the past 3 months so they were still paying us. So I had like that money to fall back on. I was fortunate to like not have too many bills. I don't have to pay rent. I just had a brand new car that I bought, and I was able to pay that off before, I quit my job. So I got lucky. I don't have any school debt right now. I'm one of the lucky ones.
That's really good. I'll tell you, I'm right now $60,000 in student loan debt. And just if the number one thing I always tell like my students is like, if you want to go to like a really expensive school, like for instance Drexel or Bucknell or like just any of those really expensive schools, make sure you can afford it with whatever major you're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I started out at Millersville. I hated it after a semester. And that put me 12 grand into the hole.
Yeah.
I started working full time, and I went to Montco, and I paid off the $12,000 before I was done at Montco. And then I got pretty much a full ride to Ursinus from
nice.
Montco, because a lot of community colleges have what's that called, like a sign-on bonus sort of thing where they like partner with 4-year colleges. So I was lucky enough to get my tuition reduced enough that working 40 hours a week, I was paying tuition out of pocket every semester.
Wow.
So, and that was on a Vans income. So I have to say, my like biggest advice to anyone, like I have 3 younger siblings, and I'm like, if you don't know what you want to do, just go to community college. You'll save yourself so much money, and you might even get a better deal, because Ursinus was always my first choice. I just couldn't afford it when I got out of high school.
Yeah.
So being able to go there and basically pay nothing was like a dream come true.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I was fortunate enough to not have any debt or anything. So I was sitting on the money that I saved up from Vans paying us back when we weren't working. But yeah, I got lucky. Like I was getting scared. I was like, okay, like I don't really have that much in my bank account. I don't know how much longer I can do this. But luckily, like I said, not a lot of bills. So it worked out. If I didn't live with my mom, though, it would be impossible to have done.
Oh, I believe it. And then, what major were you in college?
I was an applied economics major, and I had a finance and accounting concentration.
And what kind of jobs were you hoping to get? after college?
I was looking for like a senior account, like a senior or like a junior accountant, I guess at first, and
Yeah.
then move into senior accounting role or something with tax accounting. I knew I wanted to do something with numbers and money and like taxes and things like that, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't wrap my head around how many different job titles there are until I actually was applying for jobs, and I was like, I don't even know what half of this stuff is. Like, I've never heard of these things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start like in an entry level position so I could work my way up, see like what's around, do a little bit of everything. So that's hopefully what the borough will bring me.
That's awesome. And then the last couple of questions I have here are number one, and we already talked about it a little bit, but what any other pieces of advice you would give to high schoolers who don't quite know what they want to do yet in the world?
I would say don't listen to what everyone else is saying. Don't listen to, you need to have the college experience, because if college isn't for you, then college isn't for you. Like, you can't force it. If you force it, you're going to end up going and wasting your money and probably not finishing. So it
So
just,
just to clarify real quick, you're saying
Mhm.
don't listen to what everyone tells you in the sense that you don't believe like the lie that everyone has to go to college, right?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
Yeah. It's like people want you to go, and like parents and, your peers and everything,
Yep.
they make like the best experience of your life. But really, those experiences I feel come later when you start a family and like things like that later down the road. Like, college is huge, and yeah, but anything after high school is huge. If you go to a trade school, that's huge. If you get a job right out of school, that's huge. Like, they're all huge, like major milestones. And I think that anyone should be happy with whatever they do after high school. I mean, you're doing it, right? So, I mean, I heard a lot of like from my parents, like, oh, you have to have that college experience, living on your own and all these things. And then after I spent all that money at Millersville, I was like, why did I do that? Like, why didn't I just go to Montco in the beginning?
Hmm.
Because like I said, I saved a ton of money, and fortunately, I don't have any debt to pay back right now. So
Yeah, that's huge. How about, I'm not sure if you have necessarily the answer to this. What about for kids who, let's say they did do like, for instance, all 4 years at Millersville, or like, for instance, I went to Penn State, and they've just like racked up like these huge student loans, and now they also feel like maybe they can't take as many risks because they also have to like pay the bills. Do you have any suggestions for those kids?
I would say just be smart with your money. Don't like go out if you're, I mean, you want to have experiences, you want to do things that you love to do, but be smart about it. Don't
Hmm.
spend money on frivolous things.
Oh, here's a
Treat,
question. How often do you, for instance, like go out or treat yourself or go on vacation? Like kind of make these big like kind of expenses.
I would say, wow, that's a good question. When I hit major milestones, I definitely treat myself with like a larger gift. Like,
Hmm.
I went out and got like a nice sushi dinner the other night after I got this new job.
Yeah.
Or, I got a promotion at work and I had enough money saved, so I bought a new car. Like, things like that. But I also, once a week will treat myself to a nice lunch or something like that. Things that are within my budget that aren't going to break the bank.
Hmm.
I can spend $10 here or there on myself, but I'm not doing it every single day.
Right.
Just being smart about, your money. Uh,
Here's a
yeah.
question. Do you are you saving for retirement at all right now?
Yes, I am. I have a 401k and I also have a pension.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because you
Yes.
have the government job, right?
Yes. And fortunately, Vans actually offers a 401k to part-time and full-time employees. So I got the best of both worlds there. I brought that in. I'm investing that as well.
Cool. And how about like, I know like a lot of people, they feel like they don't earn enough money where they can like afford to save for retirement. Would you, and like obviously this is just like, I don't know if there is a correct answer here, but like, would you suggest, for instance, people who are living paycheck to paycheck more or less, would you recommend that they invest in like 401k or retirement?
I would definitely say, even if you can just put $5 away that week, like, make it happen if you can. I mean, you shouldn't have to choose between like eating dinner or paying your phone bill.
Right.
saving for retirement. But if you can put away $5 to $10 every once in a while, I mean, it can't hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Save what you can.
Yeah.
The advice I always hear is like save like aggressively so that you almost are on the brink of poverty, regardless of how much money you're making. Um, that might be a little extreme, but at least the essence is there because definitely you don't want to start saving like when you're like 50 or 60 because then it's almost too late.
Yeah, exactly.
That's mostly it. How about we talked about college, we talked about your job. How about what is your then career plan? Like, do you see this as like what you want to do for the rest of your life? And obviously, it's too soon to say exactly.
Mm.
But for instance, do you see yourself like moving up, for instance, within this company, or do you see yourself moving like to like another job? And I guess on top of that, a follow up question. I know that I'm asking a lot here, and it's very. I need to work on my interview skills. Is what I'm realizing from this. But this is a great first interview at least. How about what is your dream job and like how has that changed from like high school to now?
Hmm. Okay, so I'll start with the first question. I don't believe that I'll be at the borough forever. There are only 4 positions in their finance department, so there's not a lot of movement unless someone retires or leaves. There's nowhere for me to really go, but I do see this as like my next 3 to 5 years. Like, definitely, I want to learn a lot from this company. Well, not company, but this entity, and move on and just develop my skills and figure out what I really want to do because I still don't know what I want to do. I'm just kind of going through the motions and, learning new things. I'm still learning even out of college. And yeah, I want this to be a stepping stone for sure
Mhm.
to my job. As far as my dream job goes, I used to really want to be, well, first I really wanted to be a yoga instructor, but I don't know why. I just thought that it was cool. I was like, oh, I could do that. That'd be fun.
I
Job.
think it's cool.
It definitely would be cool, but I am not. That's not me, and I know that. I know that's not me, so I don't know where that came from. My dream job used to be, you know, be an accountant for like the big four and make $100,000 a year at least. Like, that was my dream.
Yeah.
Now I just want to make enough to like move out at some point, have a little bit of extra money so I can go on vacation or, do the things I want to do and still have time to myself because I know that jobs that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year require more than just the 40 hours. Like,
Oh yeah. That's something that no one talks about. Is that everyone
yeah,
wants the work life balance, but no one really like careful what you wish for because
yeah,
it's not as easy as just, showing up to meetings every
ex-
day.
exactly. Like, I know my boss makes good money and she, I see her logging on at 9 o'clock at night sometimes.
Oh yeah.
This is crazy. How can you do that? But that's what she gets paid for. She's salaried and that's what they pay her to do. So I don't want that. That's
Right.
not, I want something that I can, have a family and have time for them and things like that. I've definitely, gotten to be more simple since
Hmm.
I've gotten to high school. High school, you have all these big aspirations and you're excited about your future. And it's not that I'm not excited anymore, but I'm more realistic.
Yeah.
I know what I want now in terms of like a personal life. Before I was like, yeah, let's work to live. Like, I don't want to do that. Or let's live to work. I don't know. You know what
you
I mean.
I think
You
you
know what
said it right the first you were like you at first you were like work to live and then you realized you didn't want to do that because when you're just spending all your time just worrying about where your next paycheck's coming from, I would hardly call that living. It's
Yeah,
definitely feels much more like you're just bound by the system and like you just can't break out and you can't be yourself and you can't be an individual.
exactly. Like, I don't want my job to be my whole personality. Like, that's how it was when I worked for Vans because like I said, it was a full-time gig, like even when I wasn't at work.
Yeah.
So that was personality. That's why I talked with people about all the time. Now with the borough, I'm like, I can leave and go home and not have to worry and I can go to Target and like just veg out the rest of the night. It's so nice. I finally feel like I'm free.
Yes, Target is the highlight of my night every night as well. So, and yeah, honestly, I think that's all the questions I had. Any last thoughts that you have not said so far? Any last words of inspiration?
Ooh, make yourself happy. don't try to make anyone else happy, because it's not gonna work out in the end. Make yourself happy. If that means going to a trade school, if that means, going to a 4-year school right out of high school, go for it. Make yourself happy. Do what you want to do, because then the only person you can blame for your decisions is yourself.
I think that's awesome advice. Thank you so much, Lexi, for joining me today.
Thank you for.
And yeah, that's it, everyone. I don't even know how to end this. I guess I'll just end it. Okay.